Hey guys, so welcome back to your next class of Catalyst Concepts. Today we are going to be looking at another topic, and that is to understand what are exactly physical and chemical changes and what different types are there. So we'll be engaging in some activities today. So I want you to follow through with this video and just take notes where necessary, and let's just start with our session. So look at this piece of paper. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to just tear this paper into like a smaller size. So just fold it and tear it like that. Yep. So now what I'm going to do is compare these papers, right? This is the original, this is what we have now. Essentially nothing has changed between them two. They feel the same way and they work in the same way. I can use the both of them exactly the way I can use any paper that I have, right? Nothing really changes. So what I can do now is just take a lighter and burn this piece of paper like that. Okay. Now as it slowly burns, you can see it's changing its color. I'll just drop it there, and yeah, you can just see the fires out now. But now what I can do here is compare these papers now from what it was to what it has become right now. So if I see, I'm just going to try to bring a little more ash. Okay. Now this was a white crisp piece of paper, but now what I am left with after burning, if you see, is just this grayish black ash, right? They don't even look the same, they definitely don't feel the same. So doing these two things are different. Okay, when you start and end with two different things, we call it a type of change called a chemical change. When it doesn't really change, then we call it as a physical change. So I started with paper as a reactant and I ended with paper as a product. But if I burn it, uh, I start with the reactant as paper and I end with the product as ash. So this process is what we call as a chemical change, where you start with something and you end up with something that is completely different from what you started. Okay, so we're going to be looking at certain chemical reactions in the classes to come. Now that we know what are chemical changes, we are going to be looking at different types of chemical reactions that can happen. So today I am going to introduce you to one type of chemical reaction called chemical combination reaction. In this, it's in the name, combination meaning combining two things to make a one new thing. Okay, so in this I use two reactants A and B, and they give me third reactant C. So if I have to depict this, here I am showing you two different reactants in orange and blue, A and B. When I combine them together, I should find a new product that forms completely different, which is called as C. So whenever this happens, we say that a chemical combination reaction has occurred. So now we are going to look at an experiment to show you what chemical combination reaction might look like. So for this activity, I'm going to be taking this silver colored strip that you see in front of you. This is called as a magnesium ribbon or a magnesium strip. To hold this strip, I'm going to need a pair of tongs or anything that you can use it to grasp this strip. But make sure, just to make sure it's not very close to your body or your hand. And then this watch glass that I'm going to put on the table to collect anything that falls. Okay. Next, I'm going to try to burn this ribbon and to just observe what is happening. So you can use a lighter, you can use a spirit lamp, matches, anything that can be used to burn it. Now you can see it's quite a brilliant flame, and we call this a dazzling white flame. Now there it is, and I'm going to drop it in the watch glass. Okay, Now if you take a close look at what has now fallen and become of this magnesium strip in the watch glass, I'll bring it closer to the camera for you, is you're going to see it has become a white powder. Okay, this powder is what we call magnesium oxide. Okay, this is the product that we are ending up with right now. Okay? It's breaking up very easily the moment I touch it. So when I use magnesium and oxygen from the air, it creates magnesium oxide, which is my product that I have in my watch glass. So this is an example of a combination reaction. One simple precaution you need to do is never to look directly in the flame, because it can blind you. So now we are going to look at another type of chemical change, which is kind of the opposite of combination reaction. We call this as decomposition reaction, in which we take one element that changes into two smaller elements. So essentially it is one reactant changing into two different products. Okay, so if I have to show this, I'll start with A, and once the reaction is done, I'll end up with two or more products, which is B and C. It could be more. So for this experiment, I'm going to need calcium carbonate powder, which is a powdery white substance, and I'm needing a test tube holder, and a spirit lamp, which is a source of flame for me. Okay, so now to start off with my procedure, I've taken some calcium carbonate powder, and I will slowly try to pour it inside of this test tube like this. Okay, so you can use a funnel also to just pour the powder inside a test tube. Now once I have poured this powder, the next thing that I'm going to do over here is to light my spirit lamp. So I'll just take the lid off and light it up like this. For my next step, I will be heating this powder that we have here in this test tube on this flame. Okay, it takes a little bit of time for the change to occur, but it eventually does. So now over time, you're going to notice a slight change over here. If you look at the mouth carefully of the test tube, there are slight fumes coming out of there, right? So now I'm going to test what exactly these fumes are by using a matchstick. Okay, so I'm just going to take a matchstick and check for reaction. So here I have a matchstick, bringing it close to the mouth of the test tube, and let's see what happens to it. Okay, it gets totally burned out. Now why this is happening is because this calcium carbonate that I have is actually breaking down into two new components, calcium oxide and carbon dioxide gas. This carbon dioxide gas that's actually coming out is what is causing this matchstick to actually stop burning, and calcium oxide powder is back in my test tube. So that's it for today from our end. Thank you so much for watching these videos, and we'll see you again in the next class. If you have any questions, comments, you can post them down in the comments below. Thank you.